So much, first of all, for being here, and thanks a lot for the wonderful introduction. I'm here to reply to all your questions, guys, so anything you want to ask or anything you want to know, I'm here, so bring it on.
You started cosplaying back in 2011, correct?
Yes.
Been quite some time. Do you notice a difference in the cosplay community since you first started and now?
Yes. Today, it's very, very interesting how everything is transforming on the influencing point of view, because especially for the community, for the social community, it started to become like a hunt to the likes. Okay, so quality is kind of synonym of likes today. That's what I noticed in the difference of years. Like years ago, I noticed that like big props, armors were having more success because they were like more viral on internet, and internet had less influence than today. Today, lots of cosplayers or lots of makeup artists are having more success than actual prop makers because they go viral on internet. Okay, so we have like an interesting point of view where talent is mixing with virality. Okay, so social media has become more important than since I started. Even if I have to admit that when I started, I wouldn't be here without social medias, because I started with Capcom social media. They shared me for the first time. My page grew up for the first time thanks to Capcom, and that was my first official collaboration. Today I'm always trying to defend and to tell to everybody that if you want to be a successful cosplayer, if you want to be a professional cosplayer, it's not only about your skills, but it's also about how you show the skills on the internet, on how you are available to help the next one, and of course, in the end, how you are able to promote yourself and to sell yourself on the internet. Okay. So professional cosplaying doesn't mean only, so if you want to make it into the professional world, it's not only about skills, but it's also about how you promote yourself and how you sell yourself on the internet. It's very, very important. It's a mix.
Okay. How's the Anime Milwaukee convention treating you this weekend?
I love it. It's very, very intense. There are so many activities to do. Today we had like 4 hours of prejudging. There were so many competitors, so many cool cosplayers. The cosplay level was very, very good, and I'm so excited to see later on the stage what's gonna happen, because I am specialized on interpretations and performing. So my category, I actually hate prejudging, to be honest, because I love to see the show. I love to see how they because in the end, cosplay competition is all about that minute when you're on the stage. You work for months for that single minute. And it's very, very interesting on how you focus months of work, even 1 year of work, in 1 minute.
Okay.
How many cons do you usually go to in a year?
In a year, I have a medium. From 2016, I did 38 conventions in 2016, and in 2017, I did 43. So I have like 4 conventions per month, medium. I also did 6 in September. That was a hell of a month. September 2017, I said, after I survived to this month, I can do anything I want. Anything. I still remember I went to Dragon Con last year, and I had to go to a convention in Singapore. But the convention in Singapore, I already signed it for it like months ago, and I realized that I wanted to go to Dragon Con as well, and I didn't realize that they were so close. And I didn't realize that the Singapore convention booked me from Tuesday. Normally they book me from Thursday or Friday. Okay, they booked me from Tuesday, and I had my flight on Tuesday morning, and DragonCon was just finishing on Monday. So I took my flight on Monday afternoon. I arrived on Tuesday morning with a time lapse, with a time difference. Mm-hmm. I arrived on Tuesday morning in Rome. I asked my mother, which is a superhero, to bring me some clothes. I live alone, but she's always having access to my stuff, and she came there with my clothes. And she gave me these clothes in 4 hours. I changed my luggage. I opened it in the middle of the airport. I packed everything, and I went to Singapore. Then I had the press media in Singapore. And, well, I survived to DragonCon, and that was already a lot. And then I had to fly away in Asia on the other side of the world.
Wow.
So it's intense. But the secret, a lot of people is asking me also, how do I do this live? How do I survive to this? It's because I really love what I do. That's why. Because when I see people looking up to me with inspiration, it's the biggest prize ever. I couldn't measure that in words, in prize, in money, in anything. It's the biggest thing. One day I was in a tour in China, I know, I'm Italian, I speak a lot, but I know you like it. It's a lot of information, you know. No, just kidding. So I was in China and I made this stage in China. We went like in an old, on the old part of Chongqing, okay? And it was very interesting because this sage was, we talked with some, you know, sage people there, and he was very, very wise, of course, you know, like, you know, that classic Chinese, very, very wise, you know. And he was asking me, like, if you would have all the money in the world, would you be here in this moment right now? Would you have done the same choice as you did yesterday, for today, for tomorrow? I said yes, because this is what I love to do. So yeah.
For the amount of conventions you travel to, what percentage of them are outside of the U.S.?
Okay, so right now I was seriously considering to move to the States just because I have a lot of conventions in the States, but I have a lot of conventions in Europe and Asia as well. So it's more convenient for me under every point of view, under the study point of view, under the business point of view, under the personal point of view, to stay in Rome because it's more connected, you know. So how many conventions I have outside of the States or in the States?
Outside the States.
Outside the States, a lot. A lot. Yeah, a lot. Like South America, Central America, Asia. I had one in Africa too. I didn't accept because of the conditions, but I had also invitations in Africa. I had like some conventions in Europe as well, but European conventions are pretty different. I prefer the American conventions, to be honest. Don't say that in Europe. Because, you know, when you have everything in the hotel, and you have like the main difference between European conventions and American conventions is that American conventions are most of the times in the same hotel in the same area. So, for example, now, before I was here, I just went to change because I just finished the pre-judge. But if my hotel was far away, I wouldn't make it in time. Mm-hmm. And in the evening, we have to party, okay? It's very, very important. We have parties, okay? That's the heart of the show. I went to sleep like 3 a.m. in the morning because I was raving yesterday night. I was to the party. That was amazing. I remember Milwaukee had a hell of a party yesterday night. And today we're going to have other parties. So you couldn't have this without this situation, okay? In Europe, you normally have a convention. You go to the convention center and that's it. Then you go back home or to the hotel. That's it. You don't feel that connection with people and you have less time to genuinely interact with people. Because when you're in cosplay, you're in character, you're tired, you're sick, you're hungry, you're thirsty, you know, and you're more grumpy, you know, or more happy, or you're having a shooting, you're always, you know, in a run, so, yeah.
So you
Thank you.
So to mention that you work with a number of game companies, obviously, including Square Enix, that's the cosplay we're running right now.
Yes.
What is it like to kind of be able to work with game companies, and can you describe maybe like some of the things that you do when you're working with them? Okay,
that's a very, very wonderful question, and I hate to reply to this question because it's a dream job, to be honest, but in the same time it's a torture. Because, okay, so I will ask you a question. What is your favorite video game, for example? Like saga, video game, or...
My favorite video game is the Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time.
Okay, so Zelda, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's suppose that Zelda was more complicated, like Kingdom Hearts, for example. Okay, so you have tons of spoilers of the upcoming Kingdom Hearts 3. Working for these companies means also to have access to some spoilers or reserved informations that is not only a question about knowing them, because sometimes I didn't want to know them, especially when you get drunk to the party with the producers of the game that spoils you all the game. That really happened to me? Oh, really? Did you say that? Oh, I said that. It's very, very, very cool, but the hardest part is to keep it for you. Because when you're there with your friends, you're fanboying, and you are in your private life, you really need to be careful because you have like an NDA, and if informations go out from you, sometimes they give you like fake informations, you know, to see if the fake information spread and they know where's the source, you know, like, you know, Tyrion Lannister style, you know? Yeah. They're pretty smart, if you know what I mean. So it's very, very tough to work for them because you need to be extremely professional. You need to be, it's very stressful because you need to, you know, especially when you're a fan of the saga. For me, working for Final Fantasy 15 has been, I don't know how to say. It's like, I'm very self-confident, but seriously, when you are there, you need to portray everything perfectly, and you'd never know because, for example, for Japanese companies, they are very, very close to cosplay under the professional point of view, because most of the Japanese companies for video games like Square Enix with Kingdom Hearts, they consider like cosplay the copy of an art. So but for example, the department of Final Fantasy 15 were more open-minded, more European American point of view. You know, they want to use cosplayers to promote more or to listen more the feedbacks from the community, which is very important. So yeah, it's wonderful, but you have access to so many informations, to so many designs, and you need to be careful where you leave your phone. You need to be careful of all the friends coming there and say, oh, you can tell that to me, I'm not going to tell that to anybody. And that's the moment you really have to forget that you know that, because your eyes can lie. Like, I still remember Assassin's Creed last year. I knew it was going to be in Egypt last year since March. No, February, probably. February. And a friend of mine was like, oh, so it's going to be an Egyptian Assassin's Creed? And I'm like, no, you know, you really need to lie, you know? And even now for Kingdom Hearts 3, I have some informations. For Final Fantasy 15, I had some informations, and I was like, I need to keep them for myself, and it's very hard. It's very hard. So yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing. You really need to work hard to not to fulfill the expectations. Another side note I would like to say is for Rakan, for League of Legends. I knew about the design because I was model for Rakan last year, and I was sending them the pictures, you know, like some pictures and everything, like, you know, like dancing position or this kind of things. They were asking me like different things. But I knew about Rakan's release like in December, and I lost friends because of League of Legends. So, you know, I was having in my hand the power tool to gain back my friendship, but I didn't use that. You know, I know about the release of a new champion. Come to my place, we can become friends again, you know. They are still playing League of Legends, you know. So, yeah, it's very, very tough. Especially when they change the design at the last minute. You finish all the cosplay, everything is done, and oh, we changed the bracelet. Oh, so yeah. We made 5 bracelets for Rakan last year. 5. The first design was with feathers. The second design was with LED, with things coming from the arm. The other design was with the skulls. The skulls were very, very small. Then they made it bigger, and yeah.
For you, you have kind of like a belief of like good attitude and positivity, right? For people who are in the cosplay community, is the cosplay community very accepting and positive as well?
It really depends on what aspect you need to focus on, because if you want to focus on the negativity, you find negativity everywhere. If you want to focus on the positivity, you create positivity everywhere. Like, if I see negativity, I would think, okay, there's negative people. Don't reply with negativity because there's gonna be a never-ending chain. Just be positive. Focus on the beautiful things, and you're gonna see that you're gonna have only positive things. Negativity will gonna get tired after a point, so they will not get to you. It's all about how you reply, you know. Like time ago, once upon a time when I started, people was like, "Oh, his abs are Photoshop," you know. I even had a T-shirt with "My abs are Photoshopped." So, what's happening in here? You have 2 solutions. Victimizing yourself, like, people, you know, saying that my Photoshop abs or these kind of things, you know, like crying on the internet. If you cry on the internet too much, you attract people that is there for you just because you are crying too much, not because you are motivating them. And they will leave you very soon, because they will get tired of you crying like a baby. The thing I always suggest is transform critics, if they're not true, of course, or if you are okay with it, transform them in your shield, okay? So everybody was saying my abs were Photoshop, you know, and every time I was like, where they were asking me, hey Leon, what's your workout routine? I was like, just replying Photoshop, it's okay. You know, like, you always have to be, how can I say, you always have to use your critics to transform them in your power. It's very, very important, because after a point of view, you're just gonna, you know, joke about everything. So, and in the end, when people meet you in real life, if you are Photoshop or not, they will realize, and you're not gonna get called in the convention anymore, okay? So, yeah.
You mentioned that a while ago that you're very self-confident. What would kind of be one of your recommendations for people who are like trying to get into cosplay but have kind of that struggle of like trying to put themselves out there?
What I'm trying to say is that you always have to remember that how you see yourself is not how the others see you. That's very, very important. That's the first thing. You look at yourself in the mirror, you don't like yourself, but it doesn't mean that people don't like you. You look at yourself in the mirror, you like yourself, but it doesn't mean that people like you. It's the opposite, okay? It's everything about accepting anything, you know? There will always be people liking you, people disliking you. The most important thing is that you do what you love without caring about people's opinion. I mean, you always have to care, but not that much to change yourself. So what I'm trying to say is that people sometimes have, especially in the cosplay community, I see a lot of big names not helping that much, you know, the upcoming cosplayers of the rookies. But I always try to say to everybody that I didn't born this way. I had to waste so many materials to learn how to do my stuff. I had to waste a lot of makeup. I look very bad with some cosplays though. I don't like how I look in the first cosplays. I didn't start by being professional. I get professional, which is very, very important to underline this point of view, because people today is having way more advantages than I had when I started. I started in 2011 and I didn't have all these materials. I didn't have all these makeup tutorials. I didn't have these inspirations. You know, I didn't have social media. Social media is such a boost of motivation. It's such a boost of self-confidence. Like you post a picture and it's very easy to fly away, you know, from the ground. So what I'm trying to say to everybody is that you have to be self-confident, but to stay on the ground, not overdo too much, and be always humble and help the next one. I mean, cosplay is the copy of the copy, like the concept of art, okay? Make it yours, don't be the copy of somebody else. Copy from somebody, copy something else from somebody else and make it yours. That's how you become an artist.
For people out there who are watching or listening, where can they go to find out more about you or follow you or things like that?
Yeah, well, I manage all my social medias. I manage Facebook, I manage Twitter, I manage DeviantArt. I have my official website, leonchiro.com. I have Instagram, I have Tumblr, I have VK, I have Weibo, which is the Chinese social media. I have everything. I have the Russian social media. I have everything, pretty much everything. So they can just Google Photoshop apps and they're gonna find my name. That's okay. I mean, that's easy. How to Photoshop your apps, and you're gonna find the tutorial.
Good.
I'll probably make a video about that, like how to Photoshop your apps.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you guys for everything.